Ali here at mindwavemeditation.com, and today we're going to talk about social anxiety. It's time to break free. It's time to dissolve the anxiety. It's no longer do you need anxiety in your life. You've learned all the lessons that you can possibly learn from having that experience, and now is the time to dissolve it because you don't need it anymore. Maybe you did need it. Maybe you needed it to learn some lessons. I don't know. But what I do know is now is the time to dissolve it. And in this video, we're going to talk about it and how to finally break free so you can have those conversations with the people that you want to meet, have those conversations with the people you have to talk to, and not feel this kind of grip of fear and anxiety and suffering no more. So watch and learn, and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, so social anxiety is a tricky one because, we're forced into these situations sometimes where we have to communicate with people, and therefore we're thrust into this situation, whether it's a Zoom meeting or an actual physical meeting, or even a gathering, where you're you're going to be speaking to people. I was speaking to a friend recently, and she was saying how she got really bad anxiety when she had to go and do these speaking things. And we kind of quickly figured out that it was because she didn't really want to be there. She didn't really want to be doing the small talk. Small talk is a skill. I'm pretty good at it actually now. I've spent a lot of time doing small talk, being an ex-barman. You got 3 minutes to have a conversation. So I got pretty good at getting straight to the point, cutting out all the fat, and just kind of putting the attention on them. And this is one of my favorite tricks, is you're not deflecting from yourself in a negative way, you're directing the conversation. You're taking control of the situation. And if they want to, ask you questions, then absolutely, you're not trying to manipulate the situation. But what happens is, in conversations sometimes, is it goes dead because you might have two introverts trying to talk to each other. And it can just kind of go it's just so cringe. So by guiding the conversation, you're actually doing each other a favor. And if you get good at it, you can kind of guide, and then if they get on that vibe, you can kind of back off and talk about yourself. If they're interested in you, then try it. Try and talk about yourself, and try and do it from a place of love and respect for yourself. So look, I know you're watching this video because you'd be interested in the title, or you have social anxiety. Not as easy said than done. I get it. So with my friend, we figured out that she didn't want to be there because she didn't want to be having those conversations. But what was happening was, because she hadn't had that conversation, she was just there dealing with the problem and then feeling in that kind of anxious state. So now that we've had this conversation, the next time she'll go to these events, she'll know that it's just part of her job. It's just what she has to do. It's not the be all and end all. It's just she's there for the moment. She has to have these small talk conversations because it's part of the business. And when you come from this perspective, this mindset, then you can just go with the flow and through the motions. And it doesn't have to be like, oh my God, I hate my life. I hate this. This isn't me, So that's one thing. If you're super struggling and it's just, that's what it was like for me. It was just, I'd walk in and it was like I was underwater and on magic mushrooms at the same time. It was just a bit much. So find out how to make that easier. There's plenty of things. If you meditate before, absolutely phenomenal for changing your chemistry, your energy, relaxing you on a deep level, so when you do go into these situations, you're a bit clearer and calmer and your heart isn't racing. link below if you want to learn to meditate much like this. It'd be awesome. I look forward to meeting you. That's a little pitch there, you see that? Just chucked it in there. So, you know, you're there, you've got to speak to these people. What do you do? Charge yourself beforehand. Go into this meeting, this conversation, and just put on that front, that acting face. I taught another girl, and she was like, I'm really introverted, you know, I don't like talking to the people. And then when I'm talking to her, she's all like this. She's sending me her singing. She's, you know, like, it didn't add up. I was like looking at the way she was talking to me when she was relaxed around me, and then listening to her story and going, that doesn't add up. What she thinks about herself isn't what she's presenting to me. So is that you? You know, are you telling yourself you're this introvert and like, oh, I don't like these situations, I don't like this, like, but then when you're with your actual friends, you let loose a little bit. Well, then there's two different things going on here. Let's just have a look at the situation. Maybe it's new things, maybe a Zoom meeting and you have to speak. I was in a Zoom meeting yesterday and it went all the way round, and the kind of mediator was saying, do you want to say anything? Do you want to say anything? And I was like the second to last person, and it got to me and I just felt it was rude not to. I didn't want to. I'm doing this all the time. I just wanted to listen. For once, I just wanted to listen. So I spoke because I felt it was polite, and it got to the last guy and he just went, I haven't got anything to say. And I loved it. It was great. You could tell he just wasn't, you know, he didn't want to speak, and I got it. And everyone respected it. So, you know, sometimes the pressure of speaking is so much and you feel so awful. But look, you can just not speak if you don't want to speak. When you're in a physical situation, it's a bit more difficult because, you know, you kind of have to speak. But look, throw the attention on them is a great deflection on yourself. Keep on asking questions, keep stirring the story, keep changing, you know, like eventually you have to answer a few questions. But if you're really uncomfortable talking about yourself because it makes you, you know, flustered, just keep putting it out there, and then fake it, absolutely fake it. Put on the confidence hat. Everybody can pretend to be confident. Even if you're not confident, just put on the confidence hat and just do it as an experiment. The next person I have to speak to, or if I'm in this group, just, you know, you don't have to be arrogant or totally extrovert, but you can just fake confidence. Imagine what the person in the film would do if they were acting and they had to act confident. So you can kind of create a little, you know, facade. You know, it's not technically true or real, but just play with it and you might find that you're actually more confident than you think. I've seen people in groups who are normally the quiet person, you know, say a joke or say something funny, and, you know, the whole group's laughed and they've had that look on their face like, oh my God, I can make people laugh. Oh my God, it worked. And then something go too far and try and tell another joke and it falls flat. But throw out that random comment or that joke and maybe it'll fall flat, maybe it'll light up a room. You never know until you try. And, you know, it's just a case of having a go. Just try and act confident. And before you know it, you will be confident, because it's like a domino effect. Anything that you commit to, you know, soon enough you'll become that thing if you just keep doing it. So practice being confident. If you're super shy, practice being confident before you go out. Just, you know, think of a few questions. Just play with it, absolutely play with it. All right, and then the big one is, what's happening? What is happening? Why are we anxious? If you've been watching these videos, you know that anxiety lives in the future. It's a future problem. It's, I mean, in a sense, like, it's only ever coming from the future. That's why you're anxious. Let's break that down just for a second. Every time you're anxious, it's because you're thinking about something in the future, not the past. That's where your depression and the sadness can come from. But anxiety comes from the future. Oh, the party I've got to go to. Oh, I've got to oh, that person I saw last time, I'm going to see them again. It's all future thoughts, all future thoughts. And what we do is we get tightness of breath, shortness of breath, and we get locked in the loop that we've talked about before, the thinking and feeling loop. The thoughts create the feelings, and then when the thoughts have created the feelings then the feelings then create the thoughts. So let's just break that down again. Double breakdown. The thoughts of the future create the and then the creates more of those thoughts. So you're in a loop. So if you're aware of this loop, that's good. If you're unaware of this loop, then let this video be the thing that breaks that loop. So what you want to do is you want to remember my favorite saying of all time: if you're depressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. If you're at peace, you're living in the present. So remember that when you're going into these social situations, be present, tune into the breath, tune into the heart, tune in to just what's happening right here, right now. Because the moment your mind jumps to the future, you're bringing in all this noise, all this data that's going to make you go, ooh, and potentially make all this stuff happen again. So what you want to do is you want to bring in a breathing technique. It's so easy. I call it the 4-4-4-4, or you can call it the box breath. I don't know, there's loads of names for it, but basically you breathe in for 4, hold, breathe out, hold, breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold, breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold, breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold. Okay, now breathe in. I mean, come on, straight away. Brings everything down, calms the body, calms the mind, and also it gives you something to tune into, to focus on in the present moment. That's the key. You're out of mind. You're out of your mind, man, and you really are. You're out of mind, and the mind is where we store the past and the future. So these tools are amazing on many levels. Not only do they naturally kickstart your parasympathetic nervous system and start telling your mind to mimic your sleep cycle. That's what the 4-4-4 is. It kind of mimics that kind of natural rhythm and flow that we have in sleep that naturally does pause and then breathe. And so you're telling your body at a physiological level to relax and calm, and everything's okay, everything's fine here. You don't need to worry, you don't need to be short of breath. So when you get to this state of feeling calmer, then kind of cultivate it by breathing into it. And look, when you're talking to people, or when they're talking to you and you're feeling a bit nervous or anxious, just start breathing. You know, they can't tell. Just in your head, just say, I love you, thank you. Breathe in and out, breathe deeply, do the four-part breath when you're talking to them, and see if it kind of lessens the noise. Yeah, that's how I keep on ending these videos, but it looks just like, yeah, that's what I think. So click the link below if you want to know more, and if you're really struggling, there's an anxiety playlist down there as well. But do get in touch. I teach many people to deal with these sorts of issues and help them break through just like I did. It's an absolute pleasure and a joy to do that. So comment, subscribe, Blah, blah, blah. I'll see you on the next one, and keep smiling. This is a main point of the whole thing, is crank up the smile, and then a lot of the stuff just kind of dissolves. If you keep tuning into this, and keep tuning into this, I know it sounds a bit cheesy, but it works. It absolutely works. I promise you, guaranteed. All right, see you soon.